yo, bam! I want you to play that.
That's because we've been outside all day.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Fast Freddie back here from the Youngstown studio. It's been only, like 2 weeks, but it seems like it's been a lot longer than that. Well, Joe, you were on vacation, you were up in Maine and every place else?
Boston, Maine, New York. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you had a great time. Did you get some lobster rolls?
I did. So good.
Did you find them?
Jealous.
Okay, good. Did you go to that place that Jaybird said to go?
I don't think so.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Where did he say?
I forget.
No.
Worcester, I think he said it was called.
Yeah, I did not.
Oh, okay. All right. So you got some good food.
I did.
And we had a winner. We had a winner of the $1,300. We had $1,300 up for grabs in the Crack Joe's safe. And we finally had a winner. And the winner was?
His name was Joseph. And he was our guy that that did a spreadsheet and was listening to every show and then whittling down. He put a lot of time and effort into that. And I won $1,300 in the AirPod Pros.
And I don't think anybody even cares about the AirPod Pros. $1,300. It was like, forget it. I'll go buy my own AirPod Pros if I want them. So what was the winning number? What was the 3-digit combination to open the safe? 215.
Yes.
Okay, so you
want to know about the partners.
Yeah,
right?
no, I know what the partners are.
No, you don't. You don't.
Okay, partners isn't 2?
No.
Okay, here were the clues. The clues were it was a time on a digital clock.
Okay.
And then the second one was partners. And there was 2 odd and 1 even.
Yes.
And so I was thinking partners. I thought partners was like 3-3 and then, the 2 odds and then an even number. But okay, so where did partners come from?
Okay, so you're familiar with the slang term bae.
Babe?
Bae, B-A-E.
B-A-E, kind of. Yeah, well, look,
That means
you're looking at some old farts here. Do we look like we're into that?
I know, really.
Yeah.
I'm thinking not so much.
It could have been a red herring, and that's what it was, but it still corresponded. If you looked at a phone, 215 on the phone was B-A-E, and so, yeah.
Oh, that was, boo.
I never would have
Boo. That was terrible.
My other clues were good, though. Enough for someone to figure it out.
Well, your other clues were okay.
Okay.
2 odds and an even. But I was focusing on, 331, things of that, the 551 or 552, 332, along those lines. Oh, that
I threw you, man.
What kind? No, that wasn't even a clue. That wasn't even a clue. See, Joe's like a mad scientist, and he thought that was a clue. A clue would be like partners. Okay.
I can't make it easy. I know you wanted people to win, right? I had to make it a little bit more difficult, or else you'd have just given the number away.
Well, that's one thing I like to do. I do like to give away prizes. And when we have contests or whatever, I feel bad when people don't win.
Yeah.
And if I go out on a remote or something, I would give away every single prize that I had, because I just want everybody to win. But, B-A-E, what the hell? Boo. Oh, man.
So he wasn't from our generation, the guy who won.
No,
Yours, maybe,
did
but not mine.
the clue help him?
No,
Partners?
he took it the same way that you did, where he thought it was something that was partnered at number 2, and he used that clue to guess 215.
Oh, so he
had it down to 4, and that bae clue, the partner clue, made him say 215.
Oh, okay. All right. Terrible clue. Boo.
Sorry, man.
Boo. Come on, man. That I can't believe it. I can't believe it. All right. Anyways, we're going to get down to business. Today, we are going to talk about Idora Park, and everybody in Youngstown has so many fond memories of Idora Park. And my guests here today are Jim and Tony Amey, and they're from Canfield, and they have been collecting items from Idora Park from day one, and they have a museum out in Canfield on Turner Road, and this weekend is their big open house. And I know people come out there and they love to go out there because it brings back so many great memories, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. And you guys also have a book called Nut Misadventures of the Idora Park Experience Ninjas, and we're going to talk about the book too. And before we get started, there are certain things that we have a joke that you have to mention on every single show, because it just seems like it always comes up in conversation, whether we're talking about music, whether we're talking about Youngstown history. We always have to mention Boots Bell, number one. We always have to mention Left End.
Yeah.
We always have to mention the Tomorrow Club in downtown Youngstown. And we also have to mention Idora Park and Hot Day. Those are the big things that every show, for some reason, we seem to mention that. So we figured, well, if we have to mention that all the time, we might as well bring the experts on Idora Park here. So first,
Experts.
Yeah, I was going to say that might be a little much.
well, maybe super fan. Super fans, is that
Okay.
more like it? Obsessed? You know.
He's obsessed, yes.
Okay, and you're stuck. You're
I'm stuck,
along for
you
the
know.
ride.
She's not even
Better
from
or
here.
worse, sickness and health.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the Idora Park Experience and how this whole thing got started.
Oh, how to get started? Well, I worked there in 1976. I was 18 years old, getting ready to graduate high school. I worked there that summer, and I fell in love with the place. But I'd been there as a kid anyway. I joined the military, went away. I was gone for 17 years. So in 1993, I came back, and I wanted to see Idora Park. Now, I knew it had closed because of the fire, but I didn't see it or feel it in my heart until I actually got to walk through it. And she was bugging me to come join me. She wanted to be close to me. So we'd met in England. I had retired from the military, and then I talked her into coming here with me. She's from California. She's never been to Idora Park.
Oh, so you're really kind of like a stranger then to Idora
Yes.
Park.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not-
Not anymore.
So
I've earned my stripes in Youngstown, I think.
oh yeah, it was around December of '93, and I said, let's walk through Idora Park. I want to see it. And a lot of it was still standing, but that's when it hit me that it's not coming back. Everything
Right.
was dilapidated that was still standing. We went into the ballroom, and there was a lot of stuff that was still there from Idora Park. There were the chairs, the wooden chairs with Idora burned in the back of them, and wooden tables, and a baby piano
grand.
was flipped over,
Yeah.
baby grand piano. All kinds of things were still there. And I said to her, this stuff's going to disappear. We should take some of it. And she said, no, we can't do that. That's stealing. And I try to tell her that being from Youngstown, that's kind of an okay thing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not really stealing.
No.
Yeah.
It's
not
acquiring
really
or
stealing.
taking
That's what we
it
do
and
here.
Right.
rescuing it is what I would have been doing.
Exactly.
But she's from California. She didn't understand that. So I couldn't take anything. And then as we were walking up the midway, getting closer to the arcade building, the game that I had worked was still standing. Now, I don't know what it became after I left in 1976, but it was a football throw game when I was there. And there was a light fixture that was hanging just by one screw. And I looked at her and I said, I got to take that because that was my game. That was the football throw game.
Right.
So I took that, and that's what started the collecting in
Yeah.
1993.
Little
And,
by little, we just acquired things here and there, just like any collector does. Oh, that's from Youngstown. That's from Idora Park. We need to take that home.
But it was difficult to find good paying jobs in Youngstown at the time. We'd retired and come back here and from the military. And then we moved to Washington, D.C., and we were down there for, 10 years.
Yeah, about that.
And then it was like, bam, the American dream just came up and slapped us in the back of the head, and we started doing really well down there in our careers.
Uh-huh.
And I went to her one day and I said, I want something big from Idora. Because we'd come home and we'd go to yard sales, garage sales, whatever, and find an ashtray, a little thing, a poster maybe if you're
Poster.
lucky.
Right.
We'd take it home and, we'd frame it or put it on the coffee table and stuff like that. And little by little, it was overriding the decor of our house. I tell people our home was decorated in early Idora Park because it was whenever he'd find something, we'd get it. And if it was frameable, we'd put a nice frame around it. And if it wasn't, then it'd go into a cabinet or something. And it just kept acquiring to the point that pretty soon the family photos were coming off the wall and the Idora stuff was going
I don't
up.
remember that part. But
Yeah, well. And then one day he said, well, I want to get something big. And I'm thinking all these years, he's never, ever seen anything bigger than about an ashtray or a chalkware souvenir or something. So our money's safe. He can go shop all he wants. He's not going to find it. So it doesn't matter. So I pretty much said, yeah, go have some fun, baby. Until
she didn't know I was putting newspaper
until a
ads
Wildcat
out.
car showed up in the driveway.
I was putting newspaper ads out and internet because the internet's starting getting bigger. And
Right.
I put these ads out all over this area looking for something larger from Idora Park. And I was teaching this class down in DC, and I just put the students on break, and I get this phone call, and it was a block caller ID, and I went ahead and answered it because they were on break.
Yeah.
And he says, kind of whispering in the phone, he says, I know somebody who's got the stuff you're looking for.
Typical Youngstown call. From Youngstown, you have to be a little more. Could you be a little more specific?
I know. Yeah.
I know a guy. Hey, I know a guy that got the stuff you're looking for.
Yeah,
Plus,
exactly.
I didn't say Idora Park. Plus, we're in Washington, D.C.,
Yeah.
and it's not the nicest part of Washington, D.C. And I'm like, I think this must be a drug deal or something. I said, I think you got the wrong guy. He says, no, you're looking for Idora Park stuff, right? And I said, yeah. And he says, big stuff. And I said, yeah. He says, I know a guy's got stuff.
I know a guy that knows a guy.
He says, but don't tell him I called you. I said, well, it's block caller ID anyway. I don't know who you are. So I ended up calling that guy for months, and he kept putting me off. And I got to watch what I say about him.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
He still has some stuff.
Oh,
He kind of collects
You got to
a
be
lot.
nice to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like to use the word hoarder,
Yeah.
but he is a hoarder.
Right.
He's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
But he had
and,
a great he has
he
a great
did- yeah,
collection
he
of a
does.
lot of different things,
And he's a
but
pretty smart
especially of
guy.
Idora Park stuff.
Yeah, I won't name him. But anyway, he invited us finally months later. He says, yeah, well, next time you're up here, okay, come on up. He finally let us look. And he had a Wildcat car. And he gave me a astronomical price. And I said, okay, I'll buy it. And then he said, well, I've got a Jackrabbit car too. So we went around back of his place, and there's a Jackrabbit with a car with a tree growing up through the seat that had been there for a long 30 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And he told me the price, and I said, okay, I'll take it. And then I ended up probably buying just about everything
Yeah,
he had.
over the years.
But then he tells his friends, hey, I know this guy who's looking for Idora Park stuff, and he's a sucker, and he'll spend some money.
Got a live wire here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got as much as we could, and then we ended up traveling to quite a few places and trying to find things from Idora.
Yeah. And what started out as I want to get something because I want to have something big from Idora. What we found was stuff was rotting in fields and in barns and in sheds, and it became a rescue mission because then it was we'd get a message from somebody saying, well, if you go to this barn and around that field, you'll see it overgrown in the corn. And we would, and it's like, you can't leave that there. It's Youngstown's history. You got to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So we became the hoarders. And there wasn't really a purpose or a mission or anything so much as you can't just leave it there.
I wouldn't call us hoarders. We're collectors.
We're hoarders.
There's a fine line there.
Have you been in the museum today? We're hoarders.
It looks pretty good.
Well, you guys, you're dressed nice and everything, so that kind of makes you a collector.
Thank you. Thank you.
It looks like you both showered and stuff before you got
Just
here
for you,
today.
trust me. It was the first time in a day
I
or
would
two.
say
Use
there's
deodorant.
certain signs for a hoarder, and I haven't really noticed it yet. You don't smell funny. I think number one rule for
Thank
a
you.
hoarder, you have to at least smell a little
Thank you
funny.
very much. I was worried about that.
Good. Well, you guys pulled it off just fine. Unless you got a good disguise going here. I don't know.
This is us.
Yeah, that's us. So, that's essentially what happened. Was it started out as a collection that then became a rescue mission, that then became a what are we doing with this? There's got to be a bigger purpose, or else that's all we are as hoarders. And what's the point of that? So one day we just kind of realized we would have friends come over and see the stuff and just go nuts. I mean, literally just, and then we'd have people contact us and say, I know somebody and I was telling them about your stuff. Can we come visit so they can see your stuff? And so we, of course, every opportunity said yes and let people. Now we still lived in Virginia, but we had purchased a home here and put most of the stuff in the house here.
Mm-hmm.
So it became when we were in town visiting our house and mortgage.
But we were the only ones in our Northern Virginia neighborhood with a rocket ship.
Yeah. We used to do this big Halloween display.
20-foot
And
long
for
rocket
Halloween, it was basically haunted Idora Park. We'd put the Wildcat car and the rocket ship out there with skeletons and fog machines and lights. And we'd have 200 kids come visit our house just so they could see what we had set up. He'd spend a month setting it up and using
that's
the Idora
crazy.
Park stuff.
Right.
As
now,
props.
where did this guy that you got the stuff from? Where did he get it from? How did he acquire this stuff?
He got it at the auction. He's been here all his life, and he was at the 1984 auction. It was October 20th and 21st of '84 when Idora Park just liquidated everything.
Right.
And a
So he
hobbyist and
bought
collector, so
Mhm.
that was where his passion was. So when he had the opportunity, he
bought a
acquired
lot.
it.
We have the kitty train from Idora. We've just so much.
And now he was the guy that got most of that?
He got some of it, but some of it went to the Four Winds. It went. Some of it's still being used in some parks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is very cool. That is very cool. So then the first really big things then you got were the cars from
Those two things
from the roller coasters, and then it just continued to grow. So now you guys have the open house coming up this weekend.
We do.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Go ahead.
Okay, so we are, exactly as you said, open house. So we open up once or twice a year. We're doing 2 weekends back to back this year. We've never done that before. So we're opening the 26th and 27th, Saturday and Sunday, noon to 6 each day. And it's $7.50. You come out to our home in Canfield, 4450 South Turner Road, pull in, park your car, and you can spend all day for all we care, just enjoying what we have. And, we try and visit with people and talk and share stories. And
Right.
it just is kind of like an old home day reunion. It's quite an experience for us. It's very emotional for us. We meet people and talk to people that this was just something incredibly important in their lives. We meet people who tell us that they wouldn't be here if it weren't for Idora Park because their parents or grandparents met there.
Uh-huh.
We've had 2 women in their 80s who hadn't seen each other in over 60 years run into each other there. And they were in each other's weddings, no less.
Oh,
and
wow.
have lost touch.
Uh-huh.
And reconnected there, and that was 2 families with tears and such. And we have people laughing and crying and telling their stories, and because the common bond is the park, what happens is people meet other people and start telling stories and go off and become friends.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right.
so
We
it's
even made
quite
the
a-
obituaries 3 times.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, one fellow it was 80th birthday, and we just happened to be open that day. I think it
Uh-huh.
might have been our first opening.
Yeah.
And his kids brought him in, and he's crying, and he's, oh my God, where did you find this stuff? Just loved it. And then he passed away about a year or 2 later, and we get notified if there's anything Idora Park that comes on the internet.
Uh-huh.
And I saw the tribute, and I read it. It was like, wow. And then there was a woman who passed away a couple years later, and then tragically, some young lady, she was 46 years old. It was about 2 years ago. We got a bunch of notices from people
Uh-huh.
that she said it was on her bucket list to go to the Idora Park Experience, and she was able to
Oh, boy.
do that. And I thought, well, that's not much of a bucket list, really, but good for her that she felt that.
That's the thing about Idora Park, because everybody from Youngstown that ever went there, you only have good memories about the place.
Yeah.
Everybody has like good memories of the place. It's like an old friend, and everybody had something there that they liked, whether it was something on the midway, whatever game you wanted to play, or maybe there was something in one of the arcades that you liked that was your favorite. Of course, your rides, the French fries, the music.
Yeah.
It was just such a part of Youngstown, and it was just such a special place where people are just like, it just brings back so many good memories. You just think of Idora Park and you're like, wow, what a good time.
It really was.
It was the right size. It had the right rides. Everything about it was just perfect. And when you look at over the years, all the different companies that used to have their company picnics there, and that was always a big thing. Whether you worked at Sheet and Tube or Republic or here and there, everybody would wait for the company picnic. Boy, that was a big thing.
Yeah.
And another one that I always thought was big, that I was always pumped up about, was Amoco Day. You would get Amoco gas, and you would get a ticket. Yeah, I think for every gallon of gas you got a ticket, and you would save up. And when you went there, boy, but I think like the Wildcat might have been 4 tickets or whatever.
Yeah,
but
we got some of those tickets. We got pretty much something of everything, really.
Yeah, it's just so many great memories. And then you talk about people that passed away. Our friend Chris Bell passed away here this week, and Chris was Boots Bell's son.
Yep.
And boy, they loved Idora Park, and Boots Bell was he was like a part of Idora Park too. I don't think you could separate Boots Bell from Idora
or even
Park.
from Youngstown. Boots Bell was Youngstown.
Right.
It was awesome. Yes, indeedy, duty, daddy.
And
his Leslie was just at our house a little while ago.
We have
Boots'
we have a
daughter.
display for Boots set up, and there's just a special section that's all about him. And Chris and Leslie have always tried to come out when we're open and talk with people. So this is the first time, obviously, that he's not going to be there.
Right.
We're feeling the void.
Oh, I
and
know.
everything.
I think I even
Leslie
have a
said
picture
she's
of us
gonna try and
sitting
stop
out there
by,
the last time we were out there or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, the music scene too at Idora Park. When you look at Boots Bell, and first of all, he DJ'd in between the bands. Back then, that was a big thing. Either they would have a record hop where you just have a DJ, or you would have a band and the DJ would play in between. And boy, back in the day, they would pack that ballroom. It was
Oh, yeah.
amazing on the popularity. And then, of course, the one we always talk about were hot days when they would have the bands playing outside, and that's where like Left End would just rule. And boy, you think of those. Yep, there you go. But you think about all the bands that have played there, you know, that always have the teeny bopper bands, you know, the Bobby Sherman and David Cassidy, and I think the Bay City
The
Rollers.
women still
Yes,
come in
they were
and
there.
swoon that they saw Bobby Sherman and David Cassidy there. I hear about it every time we open, that's where
Isn't
they
that
saw
something?
them. So
And then
that's my generation, so I get it.
right. No, that was a big deal. And then, of course, then you had all the harder rocking bands out on the Midway, and you know, for the rock scene with the talented musicians we had back then, you know, all the bands that you would see out on the Midway were really as good as the headliner, or maybe even better, you know. And that was just a part of it. I remember seeing the Raspberries out there, and Joe Walsh played there, and you know, just on the Midway. You know, think about how fun that was. You
The
know?
Eagles played there too.
Yeah. And it was just such a great time, and just great memories. And you just wish that something like that would come along again. But I don't ever see anything like that ever happening again. Do you?
Well, we wanted to buy the property when the church that owns it went. Well, they had a bankruptcy hearing. And we went to both hearings. Am I supposed to not talk? She's giving me that look. I know that look after
Careful where you
27
go.
years.
Careful where you go.
Yeah, so we tried to
Tread
buy
lightly.
the property, and we offered more than what it was appraised. And
We had some big dreams that, you know, unfortunately didn't work out that way, but it would have been wonderful to try and do something with that. And, you know, the park itself wasn't going to come back. That wasn't something we could do.
Well, I don't know. It started out as a picnic place.
Yeah.
It could have started out again as a picnic place.
Yeah.
And we had these dreams of, you know, converting to because we're an LLC, not a non-for-profit. We thought about becoming a non-for-profit and start going to some of the folks that have the deep pockets and saying, look, let's put the museum here.
Back together.
Let's put a picnic area here, some monuments to certain rides and attractions like the
maybe
French
a little
fry
kiddie
stand
land,
and,
you know, families
Yeah.
come out and have someplace to take
and
their
Lenny
kids.
Cavalier is the only surviving owner of Idora Park, and he said he could get some
He was,
kiddie rides out.
he was
there.
all in. He was.
Why
if
not?
we could
If
do it, he'd help us.
It happened before. Why couldn't it happen again?
Now, what about the Cavalier family? Did they keep anything, or did they just sell it all?
No, he don't. He's come by. He's given us a few things.
They
he's
didn't
donated
actually
some things.
keep much, and I think the circumstances were they really couldn't keep much. But this is the kind of person that Lenny is. He showed up at our house one day, and he had an old National Cash Register that's from what
1909 or something
like that. And he donated that to the museum and gave us a little bit of history about, you know, how it was used and where it was used, and we have that in the museum, obviously.
Big roll of tickets.
But he showed up with a big roll of tickets that had never been opened. And he handed it to Jim
wow.
and said, go make some jewelry and make some money for your museum. So basically, straight from Idora to Lenny to in storage for 30 years to Jim. And he did. He makes jewelry out of some of the stuff, and we sell that. And that's how we help to
when I
fund some of
restore
it.
something,
But Lenny
I gotta
just
keep
showed
the
up.
paint in the wood, so I can't throw it away.
Right.
So started figuring out a way to make jewelry out of it, and
Oh, how
we
cool
sell
is
it.
that?
It helps us kind of
Right.
keep going.
Funny
Right.
story about Lenny, though, was we asked him to come out a couple of times, and he didn't. And, you know, I can see a lot of reasons why he wouldn't. And then I guess we bullied him enough that finally one day he shows up, and
with his
he
wife
shows up with his
Ann.
wife
Yeah.
and daughter and a couple of grandchildren. And, you know, as soon as they arrive, they're doing we don't have very long. We're not going to stay. And about 2-3 hours later, they're still
Yeah.
there, and the crowds
Holding
around
court.
them.
Yeah.
And, you know, everybody is just, because that's the other thing, is everybody's fascinated about those memories, and to know that one of the former owners was there. And, you know, it was really emotional for the Cavalier family to experience what we had. And then later he pulled us aside and said he truly, you know, the classic husband-wife partner sort of thing, you know, 20 minutes you tug on me, we'll make an
Yeah.
excuse, we'll be out of here.
Yeah.
And you couldn't have pulled them out with a hook. And they said their total intention was 10-20 minutes at the tops,
Yeah.
and they could do the rest of the day. And instead they
just,
spent the
just
better
to
part
get
of the
me off his
day.
back, but
Yeah.
they stayed a long time.
Oh,
And
that-
they've been out a few times since, and we did an employee reunion, and Lenny agreed to be the keynote speaker on that. And you know, standing room only ovation. He
So
did a
what was it
wonderful
like
job.
working at Idora Park? What was that like?
It was fun. I mean, I was 18 years old. I was a kid, and a lot of pretty girls. And
I was gonna say a teenage boy's heaven.
I got fired though. I did get fired. I worked a football throw,
Yeah.
and I got really good at throwing the football. There were 3 figures, and they had a little hole in the middle of them that was slightly larger than a regulation football. There was Yosemite Sam, and I don't remember the other two I told you, but
Tasmanian Devil.
Tasmanian Devil, and I don't remember who the third one
one
was. So I would get on the other side of the counter, and I got really good at it, and the Wildcat was right behind me. Sometimes I could go back there, and I could actually get 1 or 2 balls through. So you paid a quarter, 2 footballs, you had to get them both through, and you won a big prize.
Yeah.
So on my days off, I've gotten good at this, right? I come there on my days off.
The Youngstown in him just comes right out.
Yeah. Well, I paid my quarter, though. I paid the quarter.
Yeah.
And you're only allowed to win 2 big prizes a day at the game. So I've got, I don't know what it was, a bear or a dog or something, stuffed animal sitting on the counter.
Yeah.
And I'm getting ready to win my second prize. And I've been doing this for a while, but I didn't get caught.
Yeah.
And then the kid I worked for, we called him the red-haired kid. He was the son of one of the owners.
Uh-huh.
He walks up and he says, "What are you doing?" "I'm playing the game." He said, "Are you working?" I said, "No, I'm off today."
Yeah.
He said, "So you're stealing from us?" And I said, "No, I'm not stealing. I'm paying my quarter, and I'm winning the prizes." He says, "That's stealing. We pay you to learn how to do this and try to get other people to play so we could get some money out of it. And here you are, after you've gotten good at it, and you're stealing." I said, "Okay." I was 18 years old. I couldn't really understand that concept. So I said, "Okay, whatever." And I think I left that bear there, whatever, and I went. Anyway, when I come back to work the next day, the red-haired kid's waiting for me. He says, "You don't work here anymore." So I thought, "Oh, okay." So he says, "Follow me." And I thought I was going to get my last paycheck, which I think I was making $1.30 an hour, or whatever, 1976. He takes me over to skee ball. He says, "You work here now." I said, "Okay." Girls played skee ball. They didn't throw football. So I got really good at skee ball, and I played skee ball.
I love skee ball.
We have 2 machines just like Idora's, but Idora's burned in that fire in 1984. But we went to Maryland and found one, and the other one we found it somewhere else locally. So
that used to be my game, skee ball. I remember the one time when they had this one place at Cedar Point, and the last machine you could actually stand next to the back. You could be down there. So me and my buddies were down there, and we would roll the ball, and somebody could catch it right up by there.
See, Youngstown.
I know. Oh my God, you guys are all alike.
Aren't you from the South Side also?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's in the water.
I
I think.
originated on the South Side.
And anytime he's up to no good, it's always Youngstown.
I know.
It's Youngstown.
And that's what we did. We stood there, and because the last on the whole line of machines, the last one that was by the door, you could just walk right up there. So they'd throw them down there, and we'd get them, and we'd just dunk them in that 50 all day long.
You guys.
Yeah.
Steal it.
No, what was it somebody said the other day? It wasn't stealing. It was
acquiring or something.
No, not acquiring. It was
I don't remember.
Reallocating.
Yeah.
Something along that line. Yeah. It's like
some kind of Youngstown excuse that we'll call it.
Yeah.
But
Rehoming.
skee ball is one of my favorites. So now when people come out to the Idora experience, like what are some of the things that you have there in your collection?
Well, we have a lot of things that are new this year.
And
some things we had to create because you just can't find them. Like there's a Porky Pig paper eater.
Right.
Idora had 5 paper eaters. One was in a huge mushroom. Mm-hmm. 2 of them, 2 Porkies were in like a shed with hinges. And what are they called? Shutters, hinges, whatever.
Put me on the spot.
Shutters on the front of it. And then they had 2 Leo the Lions. So they had these, and they sucked paper. They said, something like, "Come here, I won't bite you," or "I won't eat you, I only eat paper."
Feed me.
So there's a woman named Joyce A. Her husband did all the sounds for Idora Park. She brought all of them to us on these really strange looking tapes that look like they're 8-track tapes, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a fella, Gary Gribben, who turned them into thumb drives.
Yeah, he put everything on little flash drives for us.
Like magic.
So we have all the sounds from Idora Park on flash drives.
But we couldn't find Porky Pig, and everybody, not everybody, but most people who come say that's the thing they want to see most is Porky Pig.
Right.
So out of the blue one day, this woman sends me a photograph, and they're rare as hen's teeth. You can't find these Porky Pigs; they're gone. And Leo Lion too. This woman sends me a photograph from Illinois. My husband is with a message. She says, "My husband is a over-the-road trucker, and look what we found." And there's a photograph.
Little
of a
tiny
Porky
town
Pig
in Illinois.
in a mushroom, which there's maybe 3 left on the planet.
Wow.
So the name of I could see the ice cream shop that she owned, and I contacted her, and thought we had a deal where she'd sell it to us. She bought it for $5 at an auction.
Had it redone. Yeah.
Had it redone. So
Didn't know anything about the history or what it was. Just thought it was a cute thing to put in front of an ice
drove
cream
out
shop.
there 500 miles, 500.1 miles from our driveway to hers. Thought we had it bought. She didn't sell it. We turned around and come back. I waited about a year, and then I contacted her. Said, "Any chance you would let us, borrow the face? Because the ice cream shop, now it was wintertime.
Yeah.
She was closing. Would you let us borrow the face? We'll make a copy of it." YSU, Youngstown State University, would come to our house, and they would scan it, and then we would
3D
get a
imaging.
3D image of it.
Yeah.
We'd have it printed. And she said, "Yeah, no problem." So we drove out there, picked it up, came back home, had YSU scan it. But then I didn't quite tell her the truth. I'm
Let's
from
just say he was
Youngstown,
able
so
to
Right,
replicate
okay.
it.
there's a streak
Not
of Youngstown,
necessarily.
right?
Yeah, oh my God.
So there's a streak of Youngstown.
You're not
I
going to
can't
do this,
help
are
it.
you?
She's not watching this. She's in Illinois. They don't even have TV.
Yeah,
there.
internet. They don't have
No, they
internet.
don't.
No,
Wi-
no,
Wi-Fi.
There's
No,
nobody paying attention.
Yeah.
So what I did was I learned how to do a fiberglass mold of her face, right? The pig face. The problem was when I got done with it, I didn't use enough release agent.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I'm doing all that. I'm like, I'm destroying her pig face, and I got to bring this pig face back.
Yeah.
You know? And then finally she says, "Why don't you just cut the mold, the one that I had made over hers? Cut the mold," because the cheeks were
Yeah,
indented.
the issue was he didn't consider the facial structure of the pig.
I was freaking out.
So it
Oh,
wasn't like
no.
putting a ball on a ball and it's a perfect round surface and you can separate them. There were
Oh.
concave pieces that when he did the thing, those inset, and they weren't going to come out
Oh,
because of the
no.
shape.
Locked together.
They were locked together. So the only option was you cut it in the middle and then you can peel it like an orange.
Mhm. And we did that,
So-
and everything was fine. And then we brought her pig back.
There was a little mark on it, and he apologized and said we'd pay to have it fixed. And she turned around and says, "Oh, I was going to have it redone this year anyway."
Yeah, but she.
So we
didn't-
still did pay for having it redone, but
Yeah.
it turned out to be a non-issue. But
So now I have
Mr.
this.
And he usually does these things without giving me any warning.
Uh-huh.
I'll go downstairs into the
You should
basement.
have smelled the fiberglass.
I
That's
guess
not
I'll go down to
small.
the basement. It's like, what is that smell? And there's Porky's face, 3 inches deep in fiberglass.
Yeah, now
But-
I could actually remember when they first introduced those, and that was a big
Mhm.
deal.
Yeah.
The talking pig that
Yep.
would
Yeah, it
eat
was
your
for
trash.
him too.
I mean, when that thing come out, it was a big deal. People
yeah.
loved it. It was just like,
Well,
oh, it's so
as
cool.
kids, we were running around. I mean, because you could see photographs of Idora before they
Yeah.
got them. They got them like 67, 68.
Yeah,
There was trash all over the place. But then when they got those, us kids, my brother and I were like, I mean, you're just waiting
Yeah.
for somebody to finish
People
Their-
share the stories.
their French fries so you
they
can have
ran
that
around
cone.
the park.
and go
Right.
feed Porky.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
People say
Right.
they would clean out their parents' car to take the trash into the park to
Just
be able to feed
them.
feed
Yeah.
the Porky and the Leo.
Wow.
So we have.
So we
So,
got
you asked
that.
the question. That's
Yeah.
a long way of saying we have a Porky.
Okay.
And
you got
he-
Porky. Check.
And he sucks the trash. He's got a motor on him that'll practically pull the fingernails out of your hand. I mean, there's a lot of suction there.
Uh-huh.
And then we have we built a Laughing Lena.
Are you
Remember her?
familiar
She
with
was at
Laughing
the-
Lena?
Yeah.
She was at the fun house.
Right.
Very unattractive lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So there's an artist out in California who made a head for us, and we created the body, and we hooked up a windshield wiper motor.
Animatronics. Yeah.
Windshield wiper motor with a thing that allows us to change the speed. And we have the voice. We have the original voice of her laughing from Idora. So
So that's
those are
mounted in
two
a
of the
little
big,
area.
two of
that's-
the big
yeah.
things that we have.
With
Wow.
cashier's cage. So we have a lot of things that people haven't seen because we haven't opened for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
So, classically when we open, we'll get donations, and we'll get donations for a little while afterwards because people hear about us and start thinking about it
Yeah.
and things come out of the attic. But we got the cashier's cage from the arcade. We got that not long after we opened the last time. So nobody has seen it. We've had it for 2 years and nobody
That
has
actually
seen
went
that.
to a nunnery from
Yeah.
the auction.
They used
Really?
it for their
Nuns had it,
fundraising.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I read some questions here real quick?
Yeah.
All right. So the first one is Anne asks, what time are you open on Saturday and Sunday?
We open at noon and
Well,
we stay open
12
until
o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Okay. And then Joseph says, didn't they just have the vocational school refurbish a blue Hooterville highway car?
Yes, a joint restoration.
So
yes.
that's actually not the most recent
Not the most
project.
recent.
We've done several projects with them, but that's probably the biggest most
beautiful.
detailed, most beautiful, most iconic project they've worked on. But they've
It's like
worked
a
on
new
several
car.
with us. The students
Beautiful.
have actually restored. And our newest thing is a Cushman car that was at the park. That's nobody has seen that.
Oh, that's crazy.
All right, this one is this is Uncle Bill. Hi, kids. Great job. We are proud of you.
Uncle Bill.
Hi, Uncle Bill and Aunt
Aunt
Jean.
Jean.
Hi, Uncle Bill.
The next one says, "Hey, make Jim do a kickflip."
Oh, I won't get up. I won't be able to get up. Believe me.
We'll leave that to Nuck the Ninja.
Let's see. My bud in LA named his band Idora after the park.
Yeah,
That's
we've
amazing.
heard from them. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Paula says, "Thanks for all your dedication, preserving memories for Youngstown."
Oh,
Yeah, thank
it's our
you.
pleasure.
Elizabeth says, "My 11-year-old son knows so much about Idora. He tells his teachers about the park. These are the things that may not know, but he knows about it."
Well, hopefully they're local and will come out. We have the arcade
We have
also.
all the arcade and
And
the
you
fun house
can, when you
mirrors.
come out, you can climb in things and sit in them and
Mhm.
take photos. And there's only a few things that we say do not touch. And that's because they're so fragile or so valuable that we can't allow the interaction. But for the most part, it's fair game
That's
to
what we
climb
call it,
in
the
and take
experience.
photos and
So people can actually
play arcade
experience
games.
some of it. Some of
David
Idora.
Price says, "What's up, Jim and Amy?"
Oh, Dave
that
is a big Idora Park guy. He
Yeah.
knows a
Yeah,
lot
he
about
is,
Idora
yeah.
Park.
So
Oh, sorry, Jim, Tony, and Freddie. Sorry.
yeah. So David was involved with us before there was an Idora Park Experience.
He was one of the sparks. He
Yeah.
and Matt
Matt
Schwartz were the sparks that actually got me started doing
their
this.
historical knowledge and such. When Jim was trying to do research, he came across a web page that they ran
way back.
and got a lot of information and then connected with them. And it was really kind of their passion
Dave
that
Price and Matt
became
Schwartz.
contagious to Jim.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, Dave. Even when I worked with Dave, he'd always say, "Hey, come in here. I just found something out." Or,
Yeah.
"Hey, did you know this?" Or, "Wow, look at these pictures that I just came across."
Yeah.
And I mean, he knows what he's
Yeah,
talking
he
about
does.
when it comes to Idora Park.
Great
He's a huge
historian.
fan.
Really is a great
Oh, yeah.
historian.
Yeah.
Rick says, "California had its own Idora Park."
It did.
It did.
It was named after ours. Theirs closed in 1928, though. Didn't last as long.
A little known
Interesting.
tidbit there. I was born in San Francisco, lived in the Bay Area for the first several years of my life. And the Idora Park out there was actually in Oakland, California, not far from where I spent the early part of my life. It was long gone before I was there, but
Right.
still.
All right, two more. Joe says, "Are Idora thongs available?"
No. No. And you know what? I've seen the crowd that comes to visit us. We don't want to see them.
Right.
True,
Hey,
true.
let's
Yeah.
face it. How long has Idora Park been gone now?
Yeah.
And so if you
Yeah.
if you remember Idora Park and have
We don't
all
wanna
these
see you in a
fond
thong.
memories, we ain't getting
Yeah,
any
you-
younger. Let me tell you.
Shouldn't be wearing a thong.
Although I was going to bust out my Idora Park Speedo for the big
No,
show
thank
today,
you.
but I
No,
decided
thank you.
not to.
And Rick said, "Is the Barrel of Fun running yet?"
Oh,
Oh.
they're killing me over that.
Pinch, pinch, pinch. So the
Yeah.
Barrel of Fun is not running, not because we don't have it on the list every year, but it's such a major project that it keeps getting pushed down for the other things that can get done. And it's that classic, we can only do this if we're going to do the Barrel of Fun, or we could do these other 5 or 6 things that are really kind of wow factors.
Okay, but Mahoney County Career and Technical Center wants to take on the barrel.
Yeah.
Now,
I
this
think if
is
it
the
hadn't been,
auto body repair shop are going to take on a wood project
yeah, and I think
They
if it hadn't been for
promised
the
me they're going to
pandemic,
do
it
it
would have
this
been
year.
done this year.
Uh-huh.
this next school year.
So what is the Barrel Fund?
It's okay. It's not from Idora Park, because God knows where that
Oh,
went.
okay.
But it was a barrel that was 16 feet long that was at the Palace in Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Yes.
So somebody here locally contacted me and said, "Hey, there's a Barrel of Fun," because I really wanted to find one.
Uh-huh.
It's in New Jersey. So we went out to New Jersey. They actually gave it to us, but it had been sitting in a field for 9 years, so part of it rotted away.
Right.
We put it on my car trailer and drove the 400 miles back here to Ohio. And in the meantime, it's a barrel that you walk through and it rotates.
Oh,
It's
okay.
in
I
the
know
fun
what you mean.
house.
Right.
In the fun
Oh,
house.
okay, okay. I'm thinking
Yeah.
like a beer barrel. Oh,
No,
okay.
no, no.
Yeah, no, that okay.
One
I
track
get
mind,
you
right?
now. Right. Now you know where I'm
so,
thinking.
so it's
right.
But
Okay.
Idora had
Ding, ding,
one.
ding. I got it. Right.
But by the time we got it home, it was no longer round. It was egg shaped.
I think we left
geez.
most of it on the highway
I
driving
know
home.
we did. I'm surprised we get pulled
And
over.
it was egg shaped, and we had it wrapped so that it would like stay together, and most of the wrapping was gone. And if you come out to the museum, we've actually made a poster with photos from kind of the life of the barrel in our possession and everything.
So now it's
the
only
trip
8 feet
back.
because I had to. It was so rotted. I had to cut off half of it, and then the part that was laying on the ground for 9 years, I had to replace the rings. But they've got to be sanded and curved just right. So the school wants to do that, and I'm happy to let them do it.
Right.
I have all the wood to replace it. There's 2 layers of wood that go on the inside, and
And the
what
metal
else?
bars around it and
The metal
everything.
bar-
We've got the so we have a rebuilt, a new motor for it, and we have the like wheel trucks
yeah,
that
that
make it go
rotates
around.
on.
And we've actually set it up differently this year. So because we have Laughing Lena and we have 5 funhouse mirrors, we've actually set up a section of the museum that's a quasi funhouse area. And we set the barrel up outside so that you can walk through the barrel to go in the door to walk into the funhouse. So when you look in the barrel through the door, you're looking at the funhouse mirrors, and then Lena's
The
there.
mechanical
However,
motor's
we're
been
going to put
rebuilt.
warnings on everything saying you're taking your life in your own hands here, because we've got it pretty stable and everything, but still it's a little bit risky.
Now, do you think there's other stuff out there still?
I know there is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is it? What's the thing? Money, or people don't want to give it up, or hoarders, or what seems to be the?
I think it's
It's the emotional connection.
Yeah,
So there are a
emotional-
couple of large items,
Exactly.
and the people that have them, there's true emotional connection to them. So we get it. You don't necessarily want to pry it out of their hands or out of their yards or, things like that. But we do hope to eventually get them.
We call it a holy grail.
we
There's
actually-
always a holy grail.
What are the holy grails?
Well, the Wildcat was one, the Jackrabbit was one, the Rocket Ship was one, Porky Pig, Laughing Lena. The big one was the Lost Riverboat, and that was that's a really weird story about how we found that. But we have the only known surviving Lost Riverboat. But there's another one that I want really badly, but the people know I want it badly. The owner who bought it in 1984 passed away, and I didn't want to bother he passed away about 3 years ago. I don't want to bother the family with it.
And it was something that he loved.
I know
used
he
in his
loved this
business
thing.
and
So,
stuff.
his wife
so for them to part with it, it's an emotional thing. It represents, husband, father, grandfather, and so if the time is ever that they decide they want to part with it, then we're hoping that they'll come to us. But until that
give it a
point,
good home.
You don't want to go out
exactly.
there.
It's like, no, we get it.
There's a certain way you have to do that, especially. Now, of course, if it was just somebody that was hoarding it and, someday I'm going to make a fortune off of this.
Yeah,
those kind of people,
was restored,
that's a little
it's cared
different.
for,
But
it's
when it has
loved.
that emotional connection, and usually when I have found that usually when people that have that emotional connection, when they finally get rid of it, it's because they want to give it to somebody that has a similar emotional connection and is going to take care of it and cherish it just like their relatives did.
Yeah. And that's how we get a lot of our donations. We get an awful lot of the donations by saying, this was my mother's, it was my grandmother's or my parents. And, we've had it and it needs to be someplace where other people can enjoy it.
They're usually little things, though. We want a big thing.
Right.
I don't know about that. We have that sign, the Idora
Part
Park,
of it. We have part of that
because
sign,
somebody says, you know what? It probably needs to be here. We have the sign for the Wacky Shack because they said it probably needs to be here. We have road signs for Hooterville
She's
Highway.
always proving me wrong.
That's my job.
I know.
That's what she's here for.
We have pieces to the carousel case because people said it needs to be here. We have you and Larry. I know nobody out there knows what I'm doing right now, but you and Larry with that cranky thing this week.
Oh,
making that work.
Cranky thing. It's a
It
brake
made
lever.
me cranky.
It's a brake lever from the Wildcat. Big brake.
Wow.
Our friend Larry Cadman is just
so what they did was they actually set it up so people can come in and pull the brake lever.
Oh man,
they can actually pull the brake lever.
Getting cooler and cooler here with this stuff.
It's important, I think, to say this. I mean, it's a really important part of our history.
It really is.
The Mountain County history.
It's important to us that it's interactive. It's important to us that there's no, like I said, without exception of just a couple of items, there's no ropes saying don't touch,
Right.
It's we want you to relive those memories because there's no better way than
yourself as a kid running through there wild, running loose, and
it was an amusement park
over there.
The Hooterville Highway car is beautiful. If someone gets in it and they put a scratch in it, that was going to happen at the amusement park anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we'll handle it. We'll deal
We always
with it.
start
It's
out saying,
fine.
"Oh, it's going to get scratched.
okay.
It's going to get damaged." It's like, yeah, but it's supposed to.
Yeah, it's
You
supposed
know?
to.
It's
Now,
supposed
see, I
to.
think the rocket ship was my favorite. That was one of my favorite rides out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's her.
So we do guest speaking every once in a while, and one of my favorite things is to ask the crowd, "Did you ride the rocket ship?" And almost every hand will go up.
Yeah.
And then I'll ask, "How many of you let your children ride the rocket ship?" And a lot of hands will still go up. The next question is, what were you thinking? There are no seatbelts. It's 85 feet in the air, and there's one little door that just kind of opens when it wants to, and you're spinning around, and there's concrete below you,
Yeah.
That used to
and you're
be my
doing this
favorite
to
ride.
look and see. It's like,
You know, next
no,
to
no,
the
no, no.
roller coasters.
I didn't
Yeah.
understand what it was, and he shows me on a YouTube video one day. He says, "Here's the rocket," and I'm thinking, "Oh no, I'm not doing that.
We didn't
No,
think that way.
no."
Now-
We put it out there on wheels, and people climb in up into it and everything. I'm thinking, that's a little high. I don't want to climb up there. So we actually lowered it this time, so it's easier for people to get into.
Everything about that was cool because then you would go up those steps and you'd be
Uh-huh.
on this little platform out
Yeah.
there looking down
Yeah.
over.
Yeah,
the thing.
exactly.
And then the next thing you know, it starts spinning around, and you would be
And
going
you hear
out there,
those-
and you'd be
You're at
hanging
an
over
angle
the
like
edge going,
this.
Yay!
And you hear those cables rubbing against.
And they
They're
had
gonna
wicker
break.
baskets before that.
Well, no, they had wooden
airplanes.
And
Wooden
there's a fella.
airplanes.
I haven't gotten the video yet, but he found a video of the wooden airplanes. I knew they had wooden airplanes before in 1948. Before 1948, they had wooden airplanes that went around. Before that, there were wicker baskets. And this fella found Steve is his name. He found video of the wooden airplanes, and he sent me a little clip of it.
Can you
and
imagine?
there's a woman. There's no doors on these airplanes. Wooden airplanes,
Yeah.
way
Just
up in the air.
climb in
And her
and
foot,
spin around.
she's got her leg hanging out of the side that is, like
Hey,
this.
that's the way we used to roll. We didn't used to have seat belts and car seats and all that stuff. And we're here.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
still hanging in.
When
You know,
people
we
see
didn't
the
need all that
Wildcat
stuff.
cars, they would say,
Seat
"Well, where's the seatbelt?"
It's like,
They
there
would
were no
say,
seatbelts.
"I remember this bar that came down the Wildcat." No, there's
there
a
was not.
stationary bar. There is no seatbelt, and it's a stationary bar. Nothing came down. You just locked your leg. You just held on, and that was it.
And of course, the Wildcat and the Jackrabbit were just iconic roller coasters.
Mhm.
People in roller coaster clubs would come from all over the place
Yeah.
to ride those.
And there was a third coaster too, the Baby Wildcat. We found those 3 cars on top of an ice cream shop in West Virginia.
No kidding.
Yeah,
No kidding.
on top of an ice cream shop.
And you wonder what motivated them to buy it to begin with.
The guy collected stuff.
Yeah,
that's
he was a collector of amusement park and carnival memorabilia, and he used it to decorate his ice cream shop. And actually, upstairs in the ice cream shop, he had a little museum that you could go up and walk through, and it was kind of cool. He had signs and stuff in cabinets and stuff like that. And it was a 3-story building, and on the top of the building was Idora Park's Baby Wildcat.
Yeah,
Wow,
all 3 of them.
that's wild.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
we got them now.
Now, how about the iconic Idora Park sign? What's the story behind that? Do we know who designed it or where it came from? Or
No,
You
we
know?
don't. We have the sign that preceded it, which
Uh-huh.
is from around 1923.
yeah,
It's nowhere near that size, but
No,
it's a neon sign. But that we have the words Idora Park on this
so
side
we
of
have
it,
we have that part.
and part of the white. But as
uh-huh.
far as the metal and the flash, the star, we don't have it, and I don't know where it is. And I don't know who made it.
Yeah.
And then
there was a fellow who contacted me and said that he actually took it down and put it. He doesn't even remember which company he put it behind, and then it disappeared.
Yeah.
So it might be out there somewhere, but
You
we
never
don't
know.
know.
Yeah, and there
That
was
would
a
be
neon
something, huh?
sign.
I'd love
Boy,
to have that.
Could you know,
Oh.
this right here, that neon part right there with
Exactly.
those
Yeah.
lights and
Yeah.
That starburst.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
I'd love to have
that
that
would be
sign.
crazy if you could get your hands on that. All right, if anybody out there is listening and you know where any of this stuff is, come on,
Yeah.
cough
Come
it
on.
up.
I'll
Let's
give you
go.
my cell phone number.
And as you can see, Jim's a live wire here. You know, I mean, you're not going to have to dicker too much with him, man. He's on a mission.
Yeah, he is. That's a fact.
He's not a good poker player. He doesn't.
No, I don't even know how to play.
You know, it's just like, all right, what is it? Okay, we're taking it because we want it so bad.
That's pretty much the way the story's gone too.
He just looks a little too excited. They see him coming when he comes pulling in. They go, okay,
He's
this
walked
guy-
away.
this
He's
guy
walked away
wants
once
it.
or twice, and people have been shocked because they figure he's an easy target. But every once in a while, he'll just say nope
Once in a
and
while.
walk away.
Not very often.
Not very often, though. Not very often.
Oh, and another nice item that you have out there is because my friend's brother made it. Is the model of the Wildcat.
Yeah, that's right.
Ray Condis' brother.
John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's 18-foot long model of the Wildcat.
I mean, that thing is beautiful.
It is.
Yeah.
And see, that's another group of people that just thought, you know what, this isn't doing us any good sitting here. People got to see this thing.
Yeah,
And boy, it is a work of art.
it is.
You know, it's worth it just to go out there and see that.
Yeah.
For somebody to take the time and to make an exact replica of that
Yeah.
by hand.
Oh, and some of the little tools that he made, that he fabricated himself. Like he has the gauge. He has this little piece of wood that's laminated, and it has gauge, which is the gauge, the distance of between the rails. And he used this thing to go all the way around that track, and it's 18 feet long by 4 feet wide.
Right.
So I mean, there's a lot of detail to it. It's just amazing.
Oh, it is. I mean, that is a museum quality piece of artwork right there.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the book here.
The book is hilarious.
It is.
Misadventures with the Idora Park Ninjas.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's basically the story of us and creating the Idora Park Experience. It's 12 individual short stories that are hilarious. Jim has a tendency to stretch the truth a little bit, so
from
he
Youngstown.
tells the story stretching the truth about how we got it according to him, and then I tell the truth about how we really got it, and then we have a little lesson learned at the end of every chapter.
Oh, there
And we
go.
tell some of the things we've told here. We talk about walking through the park and kind of how we got started. You get to see a little bit of the banter back and forth between us that kind of keeps us from killing each other. Because, you know, if we didn't play those games, we'd, just want to choke each other sometimes.
And Nuck is short for knucklehead. So he's a screw up ninja.
Yeah. We created, Jim's a great creative writer. Yeah. Thank you. Jim's a great creative writer. And several years ago, when we would go on these quote unquote missions, inevitably something would go wrong. Something would happen. We'd be upset at first, and then we'd laugh about it. And on the drive home, we'd, start telling stories back and forth. And he'd come back and write the story, and we'd blame it on our knucklehead ninja, who we nicknamed Nuck. So all the things we screwed up or got wrong was actually Nuck's fault.
Yeah.
And that grew into these stories that he started doing, and people loved it. And they kept asking, want to know about this. A lot of the questions you asked about, how'd you get this or how'd you get started? We answer those questions in there, and we tell it in a fun, laughing way that
Amazon
we had
won't
fun
let
with.
us advertise because of we have a gun pointed at a grasshopper. It's not even a real grasshopper.
Amazon sells our book for us. They actually sell it. They're one of the printers of it, but they won't let us advertise because it has a gun pointing at a character in the book, and that is a character in the book.
It's a fake gun. It's a fake.
It's a
character.
fake gun
my
and a fake
goodness.
grasshopper. Yes.
Did you tell them we used to ride that thing without a
We
without a
actually,
seatbelt?
we actually
At
wrote
first they
back to
approved
them.
it,
We
then
actually
they
wrote back to
I
them
think
and
that's
said
a lot more
it's
dangerous than
tongue-in-cheek.
kids.
Yeah.
I think the kid standing up in the ride with no seatbelt is a lot more dangerous than him shooting
Exactly.
at a pretend
A
grasshopper.
a plastic grasshopper, no less. A plastic grasshopper.
Oh, that is.
But we
that
have
is so
created
funny.
several characters in there that are just kind of, they represent our misadventures. They represent the things that have gone wrong in our missions, and
Right.
and they make fun. I mean, so in some cases we bought it on eBay. Nobody wants to hear you bought it on eBay.
Oh, there we
Wildcat.
go.
Isn't that's a fabulous view?
Well, the Wildcat. What a roller coaster. What a roller coaster. I look at that and it really makes me sad. When I look at some of these pictures, and on the anniversary of the fire, I can't even watch those videos. Honest to God, I can't. I look at those and it's just like it really, it's like
We'll
wow.
post. Oh, that's
Oh, there
cool.
you go.
It is.
Yeah.
Hey, there I am. That was my favorite ride right there. Other than the roller coasters, I love that.
Yeah, we'll put we'll post photos of the fire on the anniversary, and we get more views on that.
Yeah,
than
we'll
just
get
about
100,000
anything
views
else.
on
Yeah.
something for the fire.
It's amazing. We got followers in 52 different countries. We have followers.
Yeah.
It's crazy. People just love Idora Park, and people who have moved away to different countries or follow us.
Yeah, that's
So
one thing
people love
about
Idora Park.
people from Youngstown, man. They love it, and no matter what you do, if it's certain things about Youngstown, it's still a part of them,
Yeah.
and it really means a lot. And
Well-
I could just Oh, there we
Yeah,
go.
there we
yeah,
go.
that's early. Yeah,
That's one of the early ones.
Yeah.
The collection's probably tripled in size since then, and
Yeah.
we've kind of moved it around and done a few different
Tilt
things.
the World
since then.
sign you got. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the Caterpillar sign, and actually the story of the Tilt-A-Whirl and Caterpillar signs are in the book.
Okay, we'll have to check
That's
that out.
And the
Jackrabbit on the
And
left.
the Wildcat is in the book,
Uh-huh.
and the Lost River
That's the
boat.
jackrabbit on the left without a tree growing through it
Yeah,
any longer.
Well, it's a good thing you guys got that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
You
sitting
know,
outside.
You found it when you did,
yeah.
before it was, too far gone.
Yeah, we keep it indoors. We make these things last. Maybe someday they'll be in a real museum. Who knows?
That would be nice.
It would be.
That would
It should
I mean,
be
that's
nice. It
ultimately
should be.
that's our goal. That's what we'd like
Mhm.
to see happen.
Yeah, because it's just so cool. So, what were your favorite rides? Probably besides the roller coaster, and the rocket.
The Wildcat. And
Yeah.
I liked the Jackrabbit as a kid. Then of course Wildcat. But I like playing the games, and I love the French fries.
hmm
But
I always liked the
Funhouse.
penny arcade. Was always
oh, that's the fire.
Yeah, that's the fire.
Oh yeah.
We built a thing that looks like it's a section of our building looks like the arcade,
Uh-huh.
and we have arcade games from Idora Park in there from the 30s, 40s, 50s.
Which ones do you have in there? I used to like the bulldozer. I used to like, they had
We
a
don't have that one.
bulldozer. I liked the baseball game.
We have
with
the baseball
We have a
game.
baseball
the
game.
pinball
Yeah.
baseball game.
Yeah.
You got one of
We
those?
have one of those
Oh, that was
baseball
always
games.
one of my favorites.
We have 3 claw machines.
Uh-huh.
Roto Merchandiser,
Roto
which is
Oh, I
Merchandiser.
remember
like
that.
like the bulldozer, but different.
Right, you would have the naked woman decks of cards in there sometimes.
Yeah.
So we don't put naked women in there, but we have.
Okay.
We have card machines too.
Uh-huh.
But we're going to ask people to if they get a card, they can keep the card, but those cards are really hard to find. So
Right.
we'll have a box up, and they could, maybe
Drop
put the
the
card
card
back
in.
if they want to give it back, or they
Yeah,
keep it.
yeah.
We have a gypsy
Because I can
grandma.
remember they had all the 40s, 50s pinup girls.
Yes,
that
Yes.
exactly.
They would get in there,
Exactly.
Betty Page and stuff. You
Uh-huh.
could get a
Yeah,
postcard
totally
of Betty
politically
Page.
incorrect these days. But
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Yeah,
But we have right
actually,
there
we
for the
read some of the
kids.
cards, and it's like, oh yeah, no, this would not go today.
yeah, like the permit cards.
But we put them in there.
Yes. These permit cards they're pretty racy. Some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we have the Gypsy Grandma.
Yeah,
Do you
we
remember the
have a
Gypsy Grandma fortune
Yes,
teller?
yes.
We have that.
Yeah, it's not for
Now-
my
now she's-
probably not for my Dora, but
Yeah.
and we
Uh-huh.
went to the far reaches just recently. We went out the far reaches of New Jersey. I mean, practically in the water to get this thing, and brought her back, and it's awesome. She's just she looks at you, she nods her head, she takes a card, drops it in this pot, and then she blows you a kiss. It's so cool. It was built in 1957, and it's like Idora's,
Right.
and I have all of the auction details where the prices, all the prices of everything that went.
Uh-huh.
She's not in there, so I don't know what happened to
Yeah.
the gypsy. Maybe somebody has her, or maybe she burned in the fire. I don't know.
Right.
But
Right.
we have a model exactly like her.
So what all went in the auction? I mean, everything? Like how did
Seems
that
like
go?
everything. There are some
Yeah.
things that were missing, like the gypsy grandma that was
Well,
missing.
The coaster cars were left on the grounds.
Yeah, well, no, somebody bought them. There was a doctor that bought
Okay.
all the Wildcat cars. The Jackrabbit were left. Nobody
Okay.
wanted those.
Uh-huh.
And then some guys just took them and sold them off, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, they were
Um,
just sitting there. Nobody was using them.
yeah.
So
See, I was gone. We were out of the area for like 40 years,
yeah,
or I'd have been,
borrowing them,
yeah, acquiring them.
Yeah.
Yeah, acquiring
Rehoming them.
Rehoming them, yeah. But let's see, what else was there? It was everything was just about everything.
Well, the
was
number
sold.
one thing was the carousel. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
big
in New
thing.
York City,
Right.
And
and that's the number one question we get, which it kills me that we get asked this question as if we would not know this, but we do. We've written 2 books about Idora Park, and people will say, "Did you know that the carousel is in New York City?" And then I'm like,
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't learn that.
"Yeah, we knew that."
It's actually very beautiful. We've been there a few times. We've ridden it.
Well, they're coming
For
tonight.
any-
they're
They
coming.
are.
might
They're
be
probably at our
now.
house right now. So
Really?
they're doing a documentary
Yeah.
for so the Walentis family, David Walentis, Jane. So Jane passed away last year. They're doing a documentary.
They own the carousel.
They own the carousel. They're doing a documentary for the 100th birthday of the carousel. And they came out in November and interviewed. They actually contacted us and said, "Can we use your museum to interview people?" And we said, "Absolutely, come on out."
Oh,
So
how
they
sweet
scheduled a
is that?
day and they
So they
spent a day
filmed
interviewing
everything.
people in the museum. And then they contacted us and said, "Can we come out when you're open?" And we said, absolutely. So there's 3 of them, and 2 of them are actually staying at our house and are probably there now, trying to get settled and everything. And so they'll be there tomorrow and Saturday. And they have interviews scheduled, and then they're just going to talk to people in the crowd, is my understanding.
Get interviewed.
So they want to talk to
Saturday.
people about the carousel and what the carousel meant. So if you want a chance to be part of a documentary, I'm sure right about now Kyle and V are saying, no, please, we're overwhelmed already. But you know what? That comes with the free room and board. So
there you go.
you get to deal with our crowd.
There's a catch. See,
Yeah.
nothing's free. Nothing's free.
So
But-
they'll be there doing that.
But
and-
that
and
would be
filming
sweet
for it.
too. Boy,
Yeah.
the carousel, we're talking about this, and I just picture the Midway and the shooting gallery and the carousel going and the
All the
a
sounds.
wildcat
Yeah.
going crazy and people screaming and stuff. It just had that sound, the sound, everything about that place was just perfect.
It was.
It was just like a little getaway from everyday life. You would go out there and it was just like,
It was like having magic in a neighborhood. It was just so,
Yeah.
it was just there and just, I mean, surrounded by a neighborhood and Mill Creek Park on the other side. And it was just,
I
it
know.
was a magical place. It really was.
Oh, it really was. And then, boy, when you think of the music, I think I saw somewhere, if I'm not mistaken, it said John Philip Sousa was the first musical act to appear at Idora Park, if I'm not
You're
mistaken.
going to put me on the spot now.
I was going to say, I already was there. I can't confirm.
Oh, well, I'm going to say it like I know it. Yeah, John
I
Philip
can't
Sousa
confirm he was
Yeah, yeah.
first. But
Jim, you didn't know
Hey,
that.
I know all about Idora Park
Yeah.
here.
the Warner Brothers
quite
started there.
Yeah, the Warner
The Warner
Brothers
Brothers started their
at Idora
career
Park.
at Idora Park.
Yeah,
What did they do there?
they showed films. They bought
Okay.
bought a film machine from a used film machine and started showing movies in that area that they called it the cinema.
I knew that.
And
Yeah,
they
right. Yeah.
so they
I was just going to say that.
See.
Yeah, but and if I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to throw these out here. Wasn't the ballroom a replica of the Coney Island ballroom? If I'm not
Now
mistaken.
you really put me on the spot.
We just
Maybe,
collect
I don't
stuff.
know.
We don't know
Oh, okay.
anything.
I got the wrong people here. I'm going to get
Yeah.
Dave Price. Dave, can we get
Hey,
Dave
Dave.
Price on the
Dave
phone?
will know.
When you
Dave
said the
will know.
experts, I'm thinking, no, that's not us.
Dave,
Dave, call in, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please answer
Dave
the
would know
questions we
that.
can't
Dave would know
answer.
that. But no, getting back to the music though, I mean, like all the big band guys like Guy Lombardo and everybody would play there. And boy, just the history of the people that came through Youngstown all through the years, like up to the Eagles and Badfinger and
Yeah.
bands like
Badfinger,
that. And,
There was a wall that all of these people from way back when they first built it in like 1922, had signed this wall, and somebody went in and painted over that wall.
Oh, could you believe that?
Can you imagine?
All these incredible artists, and
Can you
somebody
imagine?
painted over
I don't
the
want to
wall.
be the painter.
Oh,
You know,
my
I mean, you're run out of
goodness.
town on a rail if you do something
Yeah.
like
I
that.
would think so.
Yeah.
Boy, could you imagine if you had that in the museum right now?
Oh,
like
I'd love to.
everybody through all
Love
those
to.
years.
It would be sealed in plexiglass or something.
Oh yeah, you would have to keep
Yeah.
that one under. Yeah, and then somebody just comes by and just paints the thing. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, how would you? Who would do such a thing? It's crazy.
Well, who knows? Some people paint that. Who wrote all
Yeah.
over this damn wall? Put some
Exactly.
paint on
Graffiti.
there.
Exactly.
Yeah, get that off there. That looks like. Come
Yeah.
on. What are we doing here?
Clean it up.
Who let these people write their name on the wall? But I can only imagine what that would look like because I remember even like the Cedars in downtown Youngstown and like in their backstage and everything, all the things that people had written on there and people that had played. It's almost like a show business tradition.
Yeah.
And too bad you couldn't even, you could have probably made posters of that.
Yeah.
You could have
yeah.
probably,
Oh, yeah.
if somebody
Oh,
would have
yeah.
took a picture of that, you could have probably made a poster and people would look at that and go, oh, look, I can't believe, oh, look,
Yeah.
That's too bad we didn't have camera phones like we do now.
Yeah.
Way
Well,
back
in some
then.
ways, yeah. And in some ways, I'm glad we didn't because I might not be sitting here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she might
Every-
not be with me.
Everything
You're right.
recorded. Yeah. Everything recorded.
But I mean,
for
to have
posterity.
photographs of inside, a lot of photographs of inside the Fun House, Wacky Shack, all those certain rides at Idora. It would be really nice to have those.
Yeah.
We've got some blueprints that were saved from the fire, but to have some photographs of what those old, like the really old Fun House looked like, that'd be really neat to have.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be. It would be. But what worries me today, though, is that we take so many pictures on our phone, but we never print them out.
Exactly.
And once
Or
people
look at 'em
lose
again.
their phone or something, are we going to lose all these things? Or somebody will go to a wedding or a family get together. They all take pictures on their phone.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of this myself. And I want to get some of these printed up because I was like, okay, I see like the photos that I have at home and, you know, they're looking good. And we got these little photo albums and stuff. And after a while, it just dropped off. And it's like, you know, I like to look at pictures and stuff to actually have them. And
What's the last thing you took a photograph of? Do you remember?
a real photograph? Boy, that's a good
With your
question.
phone. With your phone.
With my phone? Let's
What are you
see.
looking at me like that for?
I'm afraid of what the last thing is that you took a photograph of. I am
Okay, the
absolutely
last
afraid.
thing, I'm going to think it was a fish. I'm going to say it was probably a fish.
I got you beat. You took a fish.
Let's see. That's a good question. But the real good question is, what was the last?
Oh no,
What do you have there?
a dead opossum.
Oh,
Found it
geez.
in my yard. It's part of a story that
It's
we're
part of
working
a
on for our
story.
next
Yeah,
book.
for our next book. So we've already started writing the next
last
book.
thing I took a picture of the moon last night.
Oh, that's
full moon.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Hey.
full moon.
That's beautiful.
Except
Joe,
I'll tell you, I
It kinda
used to
beats
take
my
really
opossum.
good. And I took a picture of some people racing motorcycles.
Hmm.
I took a picture of a hawk.
I have a dead opossum.
A baby.
And then I had
baby dead
a
opossum.
picture of some big fish me and my son caught.
Oh,
on
that's
Father's
nice.
Day. Yeah.
That's
huge.
quite nice.
Yeah.
Where'd you catch that?
Lake Erie.
Yeah.
At
Wow.
my son,
Yeah,
he's
that
like
is
an
big.
expert fisherman. He,
We have a grandson that is.
he's just like nuts like that. You
That's
know,
awesome.
He could catch a fish in a cup of water.
Hang on, you're gonna have to turn that
And
down.
some people
It'll
will
feed
make
back.
fun of me. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you know your son
Not all the
outfishes
way.
you. I'm like, well, I just
That's okay.
freely admit it. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
we're not even in the same league.
Yeah.
You know,
that's cool.
we're not even
No.
close to being like in the same bracket. He hangs out with like guys on the pro tour and stuff like that, and he just knows so many fishermen, and he just took to it. You know, I mean, even when he was little, would go on boats, and he would always catch the big fish with even just guys. He just has like the knack for
He's
it.
got the touch.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
My grandfather was like that.
Yeah.
My dad would go out with him, and Dad would come back with these little things. And Grandpa would have these big 30-something inch long fish.
Oh, yeah, there's some people out there that really know.
yeah.
I could catch fish. I catch some big ones
I
here and
catch
there,
little ones.
but not like he's like one of them guys. Whenever he goes out, he's going to catch a fish most of the time, and big ones. And it's like okay, but
That's neat.
Yeah, I know.
okay, yeah. So those are my last pictures. How about you, Joe? What were your last pictures there?
On my phone, pictures?
Yeah.
Oh crap.
Yeah, you're like me. I don't
Go
want to
on
talk about it.
True confessions.
All right, let's see. Me running. I got some running.
Okay,
pictures.
well, wait a minute. You're doing selfies while you're running?
Yes. Right.
Now, what you're training for some kind
I
of
am. Yeah,
marathon,
right?
right?
my
Some
wife
kind
has
of race.
never run a competitive race for 5K or anything, so she's gonna attempt to run a couple of things this summer, and so we're training together.
Oh,
wow,
that's neat.
that's
That's
nice.
nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I
Yeah,
have a dead
I'm not
opossum.
running with you.
I'm not running either.
I got a motorcycle racing.
Motorcycle racing?
Yeah,
All right.
I got a motorcycle racing. That's about it for me, man. But that would be a good contest, though, or whatever. What was the last picture that you took, or the last time you went or how about film? When was the last time you took a picture with a camera with film?
With real film.
Oh yeah.
I bet. I
mean,
most people.
Do we even
don't
own a
remember that.
camera? Like a real camera that's not a phone
I
or a
don't know.
device?
I don't know.
I'm not so sure we actually even own a camera anymore.
I got a few. The one I was carrying around, people thought I was like a reporter from the 1940s. They were wondering if I was wearing a fedora with a press pass in it. Like, what's that? Where are you going? To the dark room and developing some photos. It's like, it's a camera.
Well, there was somebody out just the other day, one of the TV stations, and this camera had these big handles on it. Remember that?
Yeah,
It was
but it's
like
only,
the other
it's
day.
not that big though. The
Yeah,
camera.
it's like this. He's got these handles. I don't know.
Oh,
They've
it's
really
amazing
changed.
on how that technology has changed, even especially for the TV and even for radio. I mean, your phone is amazing as of what it could do.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we're talking about fishing. My buddy Jack Waltz, he just put out a book about fishing, and all the pictures that were in his book he took with his phone.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that years ago? Like you would have you're putting pictures in a book that you took with a phone.
In movies too, people are doing now.
Oh yeah. Or you see some of that footage that even if there's a accident or something, people send it into the TV station. They just take it with their phone.
Yeah.
It's like, what the heck, man? Think about that when the TV stations had to go out and use film. And so that's why you don't see a lot of stuff like Idora Park and stuff back in that day. It costs a lot of money to go out there and take 30, 40 seconds of film or a minute or two. Or
you went in a dark ride, and if you did have a camera, you're not going to get anything.
Yeah.
It's not going to develop.
I could just imagine all the cool videos, though, that you would see today of Idora Park on all the rides, because everybody would be taking them left and right. There's a few point of view videos out there of the Wildcat I've seen.
Wildcat, Jackrabbit. There's a few going down the midways, but and just finding the photographs of the arcade inside the arcade, it was really tough. And every once in a while, somebody will send me a photograph. Like here's a good for instance. People kept saying, "Well, the Tunnel of Love," and they would call the Rapids, which was built in 1930 and then changed in 1968 to the Lost River. They would say, "Well, that was the Tunnel of Love," but it wasn't the Tunnel of Love. But there was never any photographs you could find of this Tunnel of Love. And then a woman sends us a photo. This is great when they do that. It's a picnic that her father's company was in, and she's walking across the midway where the upper and lower midways kind of meet. There was a big tree, and in the background on the left is the fun house, and then just to the right of it, attached to it, is Tunnel of Love. It was a walk through thing.
Oh, it wasn't like a boat ride or anything.
It wasn't a boat ride.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, oh my God, there it was, like, holy cow, there it is. We've been looking for this for so long. And that's where the Tunnel of Love is. It was right next to the fun house.
I mean, wouldn't it be cool, though, to see some of those old pictures, though, of, like you say, in the arcades and stuff like that?
It would.
And with people playing those games and stuff, oh, how awesome would that be?
We found it, but that's how we were able to say that the cashier cage that we have was from the fun house. It's exact.
Someone gave us a photo used to work there and had a collection of photos from the summertime, and she shared those with us. And then he gets the cashier's cage, and he's like, I don't know for sure that it's from Idora. So we go looking through her photos, and sure enough, you can see the lettering is identical to what is on the one we have, and the countertop and the shape and everything. So we were able to validate that the cashier's cage we have is the same one that was there, because this person just shared a photo from her childhood.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
from her
wild.
youth, not really childhood, teenage years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's wild. But wouldn't you like to have had a picture of you in front of the, throwing the football or working there? Or, wouldn't that
I don't know
be
if
crazy?
I'd recognize myself.
Yeah, you probably would.
I had hair. I was a lot thinner.
Right.
I was almost good looking. Yeah.
Hey, you can just take a picture anywhere now and say, oh, yeah, that was me at the thing.
Photoshop it in there or something.
Right. Yeah. But, we just don't see a lot of those pictures.
I do wish, though, I did, because every once in a while you'll see somebody will find a family video of Idora Park, and it's like, are we in there somewhere?
Yeah.
Or is somebody I know maybe in there? But
well, at least we got that movie, All the Marbles, that was filmed there with Peter Falk that saved some footage.
Pretty bad movie, though, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. You know what's crazy about that is, for people that don't know the movie, it's called All the Marbles, and Peter Falk is like a manager of a mud wrestling team, these two women, and they're always upset with him because he's like a con man, and he's always promising him this big payday, and it never comes. And they had this match at Idora Park, the big mud wrestling, and a lot of it was filmed at the park. There's really a lot of good footage in there of Idora Park. I think that if anything come out of that movie is the fact that they saved some footage.
Yeah.
But at one point, they're driving down 680, and I could see my house in the back. You see the mills down there on Powersdale, and they're coming across 680. And I could remember one night, because at that time, that was a movie that would always show at 3 o'clock in the morning, at midnight, they'd throw that movie on. And I can remember one day I was sleeping, and the TV was on, and I just kind of wake up, and I look, and I see my house on TV. And I'm going, what the heck is that? Yeah. And then I started watching the movie. Well, I knew they had made the movie, but I don't think I saw it when it first came out. But there's a lot of good shots in Youngstown, and especially of Idora Park in that one, but not like the heyday,
Yeah.
But that was a lot of fun. Well, guys, I think it's 9 o'clock
Hey.
and time to wrap things up.
Dave's
Oh, we
on.
got a call. Hey, who we got on the phone?
It's Dave.
Hey,
Hey,
Dave
hi,
Price.
Dave.
How are you,
boy.
Dave?
How many times did we talk today, Dave?
Counting this one?
Okay, Dave Price, of course,
know you
is our resident expert on Idora Park. I mean, if they were giving out like a PhD in Idora Park, Dave would definitely
Yeah.
be a PhD when it comes
He'll
to
teach the
Idora Park.
class.
Without a
Yep.
doubt, yeah.
So what's
Well,
up,
you guys
Dave?
know I appreciate that, but I heard myself get called out. What was the question?
Okay, no, one of the questions was, I thought I was showing off my knowledge. I might be wrong on this, but wasn't J. Philip Sousa the first musical act to perform at Idora Park? John Philip Sousa.
I'm about 99.9% sure, yes.
Okay, well, if it's coming from me, you can take that as a fact. Boy, it's a good thing you guys stopped by the podcast today so I could lay all these Idora Park facts on you. I'm glad that you guys took a little time out of your day to learn a little bit about Idora Park.
So,
and,
Dave, there was a question too, though. It was about the ballroom being a replica of the ballroom at Coney Island. Is that fact?
I'm not sure about that, but I know the ballroom that we had was the biggest one between New York and Chicago.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a fact.
And it was designed by a guy named Angus Wade.
Mhm.
And there's actually a picture I do have. It came out of the Vindicator when they put that ballroom in. They redesigned that part of the park, and it opened in 1910.
Yeah, you're right.
There you go.
It was 1910. It was the Funhouse opened in 1922. Yeah.
You were talking about the Tunnel of Love. Don't forget, Jim, I just talked to you the other day. The left side also at one time was a laugh in the dark.
Yes. It was many things.
Yes. Yes.
Gold
it was the
Nugget.
Gold Rush. And we talked about how they repurposed things, and the facade of the old Gold Rush was used on the Hooterville Highway, and then the Kooky Castle. Yes, it was a number of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dave, what sparked your interest into being such a historian of Idora Park?
Oh, Jim and Tony know this. I was a chipmunk in 1979 as an Idorable.
As Idorable. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were three of them. He was the chipmunk.
Are you kidding me? I never knew that. So
I'm not kidding you. And we used to change down behind the back of the office, down by where the guy on the Lost River used to kick the boat so it would go up the lift chain.
Do you know what
I
was
never
on
knew
the,
that.
And
I've known you all these years,
Yeah,
and I
you-
did not know
yeah,
you were an Idorable.
Freddie, it was like the best job anybody could have back then. It was my first job, and I still have the paycheck, the first paycheck. And you only had to go walk the park every 30 minutes, and you couldn't talk to anybody. But my one friend, Lars Gould, was the rabbit, and they used to pull his tail, and he would just swat at the little kids. And tell them, but it was great. I heard myself get called out, and I love all you guys. You know that. And I can't wait for this weekend.
Good.
Well, we're looking
It's
forward to
always
seeing you
a
and
big
Susan.
weekend. Well, why don't you share a couple more of your stories of working there? You know, I think that's pretty cool.
You really want me to?
Oh, absolutely. Come on now.
Well, I can remember, Jim told the story about, going in and playing the football game on his day off. Well, I used to go up there on my days off, and I can remember there was this one policeman always used to eat an ice cream cone. And Pat Duffy, the old man, saw me kind of, wandering around the park, and he asked me why I was there. And I said, well, it's my day off. Well, did you pay to get in? And I said, at that point, he pointed to the one cop that everybody kind of knew in the park, and he had that guy escort me out of the park.
Wow.
I can remember there is a picture in the Rick Shale book of when they put the three of us up on the rocket, and they took a picture, and you can tell, and I know it's that picture because I was holding the chipmunk's head down. The wind wanted to take it off. I also remember real quick when the Wacky Shack before Laugh-In' Lena's, my one friend Bill Welsh was the ticket taker, and he used to let us jump like on the entrance. There was a wall to your right, but if you jumped up over that wall, it was the old fun house. Everything was in there.
Nice. I'd
The
love to see
slides,
that.
the magic carpet, the moving floors. and we'd go up there and explore. And I could go on forever, but I know you guys are running short.
Oh no, we're not running short. You can talk as long as you want, man.
Mhm.
We're not on any time schedule. These guys might be, but these are just such great memories that I just love hearing them, and I think everybody else does
Oh,
too.
you should
Yeah.
hear some of the stories we get. Oh my
Yeah.
God, some of the people, the stories they
Oh,
tell
I-
us. It's funny.
I can imagine you guys every time you open up. I
Yeah,
can
we
imagine.
get some stories that we're just like, it's true confessions time. People come in and tell us stories that I'm thinking, you need to keep that one to yourself.
Yeah, some of the stories
That's
that people
not
have
kind of
done
one you
there.
want out in the public domain.
Yeah.
And you know what? I might bring you guys out this weekend because I've had them in a container since there used to be an old Idora group, and I know you, Jim and Tony, know who I'm talking about. I don't want to mention them,
Mhm.
but I know you have Laughing Lena now, right?
Yes.
Yep.
You want the shoes?
Oh, you could have
Ooh.
said that 6 months ago before he had to destroy a brand new pair of boots.
Yeah, I took a brand new pair of boots and used a grinder on them to ruin
to
them.
make them look horrible.
Brand new boots.
But the answer is yes.
Yeah, no,
Are you sure about that?
Okay.
You think about that before you decide you're going to do that.
Laughalina's up
I'll
above a
think about
display
it.
cabinet. We'll put him in the display cabinet is what we'll do.
Just think, he's talking
Because
about giving
they,
up ladies' shoes.
Lady shoes.
Yeah.
yeah. The group I'm talking about is the group that when that park fell, it was in the hands of the church, and then they lost it, and it went to a insurance company out east, but the group was trying to acquire the ballroom to keep it going and functional, and they found so much stuff stored down in the basement. And the one thing that the person I dealt with passed along to me were those shoes, but I still, to this day, I still can't believe the park's gone, and you know that, Jim and Tony.
Oh, yeah.
But there's so many stories that just are flooding through my mind right now. I used to go get a pizza underneath the Rockets. I'd get a pizza, and then one of my first girlfriends worked in the French fry stand, and I'd walk by the side window, and she'd slide me free of charge, a large French fry.
The
and I'd go
Youngstown
up on
way.
the hill, and yeah, Youngstown drive-by,
Yeah.
or we'll call it a fry-by.
There you go.
And I'd go up on the hill and eat, and just take in all the stuff that the park had. And who doesn't remember riding the train and jumping off at the back steps by the ballroom?
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, you can walk through there now, and the lay of the land is the same way it was when we went there. And I'm glad it hasn't been developed, because I still have hopes that maybe someday a museum can go there, or a picnic area, and maybe it can start all over again someday. Who knows?
You know what I think was really cool? Go ahead.
I was going to say, here's a quick one for Jim. Remember taking down the big light pole, and when it came down, I kind of flew about 20 feet?
Yeah. Was it Mike Brocious that he slid along? Yeah, we took down the last remaining lamppost at Idora Park.
Huge Victorian lamppost, not just some little street lamp. It's
and little Mike Brocious just was sliding along.
Yeah.
Was that Mike, or was that you sliding along?
And then put it up in our museum. I thought somebody was going to die.
How many saw blades did you go through? Because what was it? It was made out of cast iron.
Yeah.
I had to saw through it forever. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's standing up in the building right now. Yeah. Maybe
a lot of memories, and you got there's a lot of video footage out there. But yeah, I agree. Could you imagine if in today's day with the cell phone technology, the videos that would come out of there and the pictures?
Yeah.
I'd really love to see the old fun house, those photos. We have Ting Markulin from the Human Beings brought us a photo, huge photo with all of the guys from the band of Human Beings, and they're standing in the fun house on the steps.
On the
Those steps that kind of moved when you walked up.
He donated that, so we've got that on the wall.
It's a huge photo.
Oh, that's wild.
And Freddie, I don't think anybody would miss the men's rooms with the troughs and the 10-cent pay toilets.
Yeah, the 10-cent pay toilets. That's right.
All right, guys. I heard myself called out. I wasn't sure what. I wanted to chime in, and those two you got, Freddie. I mean, trust me. Without them, I don't think anything would be the way it is now. It's such a great collection. It's such a great memory for people that still remember the park, and for people that want to teach, their kids about, hey, we used to have an amusement park with a top 10 roller coaster.
Yeah.
Right.
Kids love it when they come out. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's fun for
So
us.
much fun. And you
All right.
didn't have to drive all the way to some place like Cedar Point or even Geauga Lake or whatever. It was right in your backyard.
You drive
It was
by it every
right
day.
there. Yep. You
Yeah.
drive by it every day and you would see it, or you would go down to Mill Creek Park and you could hear the roller coasters and stuff, and you'd get all pumped up. I'll tell you, one of my good memories of Idora Park was when my dad was working for Don Walters Kitchens, and they used to have the big home shows there in the ballroom, and I would always help when they would set up their big displays and everything. But it was nice because they would do that before the park was open, and if I would go there and help them out, I could just walk through the whole park all by myself, and I thought that was really cool. I thought that was something. The park was closed, but I had the whole thing, and I could walk around it all by myself. Man, I thought that was just so cool to be able to do that. And that's probably like one of my really good Idora Park memories. And of course, mine, I really like the music. That's the one that really hit me, with Left End and all the great bands playing out there. And that was, there you go. Thank you. And of course, Boots Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are we forgetting there? Well, then they moved down to the Tomorrow. The bands moved to the Tomorrow Club. Okay, I think we
You have
got it out.
Agora doesn't get a. Oh.
yeah, Agora.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I used to hang out at the Agora.
Yeah, Agora / Tomorrow Club.
Yep.
So, well, I think it's time for us to wrap things up. But boy, what a great conversation!
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And
this is a lot of
anytime you
fun.
talk about Idora Park, it just sparks so many great memories in people from our area. It was just so much fun. It was just so cool. It just had that feel, the look, the ambiance, everything about it was just great. And it was just, like we said earlier, like a magical place. Some people say, oh, Disney is magical and everything. But I'll tell you what, for us, the good times that we got out of there and the family fun and something for everybody, it was just truly a institution in Youngstown. And I got to thank you guys for all you're doing to keep the memories alive and keep that stuff going. And so one more time, let's tell everybody about your book. Let's tell everybody about where they can come to the Idora Experience this weekend and next weekend, or the dates and everything, website, Facebook, the whole 9 yards. Let's just give a whole summary here of everything.
Okay, so we are open the 26th and 27th of June, noon to 6. And again, the 1st through the 4th of July, noon to 6. $7.50 to get in. Kids 12 and under are free. We really love seeing the little ones out there, so we're trying to encourage that.
And every penny goes back into the collection.
Yeah,
Right.
we that's how we
Everything
help
goes right
fund
back in it.
everything.
Yes.
And it's in Canfield, 4450 South Turner Road, Canfield. Come on out, have a good time.
And the book's hilarious. It's cheap, and it's got a lot of reviews, all 5 stars so
You can
far.
get it on Amazon. You
Yeah.
can go down to Barnes & Noble. They carry it at the local Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
You can buy it on our website, theidoraparkexperience.com. Wherever you like to get your books, you can get it.
That is
And
really
we'll have
awesome.
it for sale. We'll have it for
sign
sale.
it.
Yeah.
We'll autograph it.
When the museum's open, we have autograph copies there.
And Nuck signs it too. The ninja. Nuck the ninja.
And and that's one thing too I'd like to point out is, you guys, this is your own money that's going into
Oh,
this.
yes.
And the money
Yeah.
that you
My
made
401k is gone.
Our accountant will be
Gone.
the next one calling
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Let's see the combination for the safe for the $100. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say 273.
Yeah,
You're gonna
we,
do that again. I'm gonna be listening.
We'll let you know.
we set a goal every year of trying to cover our expenses.
Uh-huh.
We've yet to actually do that.
Yeah.
But some of that is because opportunities come up to do stuff, and
Right.
we can't wait for the next opportunity. There's not our opportunities are now or never. So we don't really get to plan it. So it's a little bit of, we just hope that we can manage it. And
Well, thank you for the
Yeah.
great job and your commitment for Idora Park. It means so much to everybody
Thank
around
you.
here. And I hope everybody gets a chance to go out this weekend or next weekend and check it out and just relive all those great memories. I know when you walk in there, just it's even little stuff. You see the Tilt-A-Whirl sign,
Yeah.
and you're just like,
Uh-huh.
man, you just walk around there, you see this, you see that, and it just sparks all these
And
memories.
we're so close to it, so it's like not seeing the forest for the trees.
Right.
And then somebody will say something, oh my God, I remember, and it'll spark these memories. And It's like, wow,
It reminds us.
It feels really good.
Yeah, it reminds us what it means to people.
Yeah.
We actually didn't have a clue until people started showing up. We thought, it's kind of neat. We'll share it with people and they'll enjoy it.
Just we're around
We didn't
every day.
realize the emotional connection people have.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, Tony, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, I can't make it out this weekend. I got a couple of gigs that I got going on. But, I should really plug those too. We got 2 things here going on. After you go to the Idora Park.
There you go. There you go.
These are motorcycle-related things, so not everybody's going to be at. Let's see. On Saturday, we're going to be at El Cowboys in Austintown. We have a benefit ride for Keith Burke. And Keith's a local musician, and he got hit by COVID really bad. And he's still not 100%, and he still has a lot of lingering health problems from that. So we're doing a big benefit for him at El Cowboy, and we're starting with a bike run during the day. And then at 3 o'clock, we got a bunch of bands out there, Huck and Philbillies and Broken Reins, a bunch of other bands. And then on Saturday or Sunday morning, we have the Teddy Foltz Memorial Bike Run, and all proceeds from that go to combat child abuse. Teddy Foltz was killed by an abusive parent years ago, and we try to keep his memory alive and also raise awareness and make some money for that too. That's going to be at Papa's Sports Bar on Poland Avenue in Youngstown on Sunday morning. So there's flyers and stuff out there about that too. So I want to get that in. But guys, thanks. It's been a blast. We've shared so many great memories, and man, I could just the sights, the sounds, the smell of the Midway. It just all comes back to you like that. It's just burned into our brains. So we'll get a chance to relive that this weekend and next weekend. All right, thanks, Joe. Thanks for having us back on here this week. I think I will be back next week. I don't think I have a bike night going on, so we might do 2 in a row here coming up. And guys, once again, thank you, and thanks for preserving the memory of Idora Park. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been a joy.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. If you like our programming, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, or subscribe to your favorite podcast platform like iTunes or Spotify. This is original Youngstown content, and we